Alright, so I did my placement at Hampton High School in the office of Joanna Orr, the school counselor there, and I did my presentation or my paper on bullying. So at the placement, like I said, I was with Joanna Orr, the Hampton High School guidance counselor. She does a variety of things from handling the kids' transcripts, helping them get ready for college. She helps them, and she helps with their problems. So actually, inside of the school, she gets to see bullying a lot because it's high school students tend to tend to be mean towards each other for no reason, and she's described bullying as one of the biggest obstacles she's had to face since she's been there, and she's been there for quite a while. And she said every single year she sees it in multiple occasions from multiple students every year. So, what is bullying? Well, bullying consists of someone in a view of perceived power, using that power as leverage against somebody else to be mean to them. Um, this could be a kid that might be bigger than another one, so he's using his size to pick on him. A kid that might be a lot smarter than another kid. A kid that's so much more popular than another kid. And they break it down into four different categories: physical, verbal, social, and cyber. Well, physical is what it sounds like. It's, physically harming another student. As in case of me turning around and punching another student, that would be physically bullying him. Verbal would be calling him names, maybe looking at another student and telling him he was stupid or anything derogatory or hurtful in that manner. Social is in the context of, like, when it's a social, like social media, you're excluding kids from certain things. Maybe on social media you're excluding them from certain groups at school. You're spreading nasty rumors about them. It's like social bullying is actually stated as covert bullying because it's more behind the scenes. You're not really usually either saying something to the student directly like you would be verbal, or you're not putting your hands on them like you would in physical. You're kind of standing back, but you're still causing problems for them. You're just not doing it face to face. And then the cyberbullying is, it could be ranged from anything. You messaging students nasty things. You could post bad things about them on social media for the world to see. It's just using the newfound technology that society's created for us to pick on another student. Bullying, well, like I said earlier, Miss Orr said it's very common in her school. She sees it usually daily. She has a problem with at least some student receiving some type of bullying towards another. 28% of kids in America have experienced bullying in school, and 70% of kids have confessed that they've seen bullying in school. Verbal and social are the most common type of bullying. I know that the 28% of students, that doesn't sound like a whole lot when you just think 28%, but 28% out of the millions of kids that go to school, that is so many students that are wrongfully getting just picked on for no reason, and that's a high number when you think of it in context of the student population. So, which kids gets bullied? Usually the kids that stand out. If 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 they excel in something, maybe one kid is a lot smarter. He or she, maybe they make really good grades and they don't miss questions and stuff. That makes them stand out from the other students. And some kids don't like to be shined or showed up, or not have their light shining brighter on them. Um, Kids that might have vulnerabilities, and by that I mean, like, if they're really shy or if they're really laid back, the bullies don't really think that they'll do anything to them. So they might be like really introverted. They don't talk to a whole lot of people, and that's the same thing with what I consider in quotations loners. They might be picked on because people conceive them as weird because they're not hanging out with a lot of people, or they don't like to talk to a whole lot of people. And they also see that as an easy chance, or especially if there's a group of them picking on them. Well, it's one on five, and they're pretty confident in their odds. Uh, Even the one that shocked me the most was actually popular kids get bullied, and that is because if I'm a popular kid, and I am like the most popular kid in school, and another kid comes by and he starts to take my role as the popular kid. That's when they get bullied. People try to knock them back down because they don't like to lose their spot on the hierarchy. Uh, And the saddest one is disabilities. Kids that have disabilities that makes them stand out. They can get bullied because they might have a prosthetic leg, or it might be a mental disability. And it sounds awful that that happens, but that makes them stand out, and kids will pick on them for that. Okay, the signs of bullying, unless your child just flat out tells you, or a child or a student at your school tells you that they're being bullied, the signs of bullying are really hard to tell. But they can experience things as mood change. They might go to they might be a really happy kid, and all of a sudden they just turn to just not. They're just really sad, or they've turned from really nice to really mean. Maybe their sleep patterns have changed. They're not sleeping all the way through the night, or they're just staying up all the time. They're always acting tired, or trying to avoid things or places. If they're getting picked on in gym class, the days they have gym, they might not want to go to school. Or if they're getting picked on the bus, they may try to walk to school, or be convinced their parent to take them to school because they're just trying to avoid that certain place or that thing. Or maybe there's a kid, students getting bullied for the certain hoodie they wear. Maybe they stop wearing like hoodies altogether, or things, they try to avoid the things that trigger the bullying for them. Instead of just fighting back, they just try to throw everything away that was causing the bullying for them. The effects of bullying, they can cause a lot of health problems. That can be the health problems that could be anywhere from an actual broken nose from maybe a kid punching another kid, so actually like physical outside bruising, to it can cause problems internally. It can create a lot, stress can create a lot of stuff on the body, even like stomach ulcers, and the stress of the bullying can in fact do the same thing to students. It affects their grades poorly. They don't put as much effort into school. Their mind is somewhere else, so it takes a really toll on their school. Their GPA usually drops. Their test scores go down, and they don't seem to be putting as much effort in because it's not as important to them as stopping the bullying. Skipping school or dropping out altogether, that tends to be a problem with the bullying, because they don't want to be somewhere where they're just constantly ridiculed and just felt bad all the time, so they just don't want to go. Or the mental health, it can create anxiety, depression, loneliness. The mind is one of the most powerful things that we know of, and causing problems to it can be short term, they can be long term, and they can be highly effective. They can be highly effective on the kid's well-being for the rest of their life if the effect of the bullying stays on them that long. Effects of bullying on the bully itself, they have an increased risk of substance abuse. It just seems like they might be trying to drink away what they've done or their sorrows, in fact, like somebody that's done something really bad. Increased risk of vandalism. They get to the point where they think they're rule breakers, and they just don't care anymore, so they just continue on to doing the same thing they were doing. Increased risk of dropping out of school. Seems like that's not their priority at that point. It's more of just getting by, I guess. And the increased risk of being abusive and having a criminal record. So I guess that would context of being abusive toward their family members, as in like a spouse or children, and that probably falls in line with the fact that they've been abusive towards everybody their entire life by bullying other students. So that honestly just seems natural to them, just to keep on going and abusing students. And then a criminal record can come from the abusive side. They can get arrested for the abuse, or they can be arrested from breaking certain rules or stuff like that. Students who witness the bullying, they can develop mental health issues as well. It actually increases their risk of dropping out of school, or even skipping class. They're more likely to use drugs, alcohol, or tobacco than kids that don't see the bullying or go through the bullying. Watching one of your friends or one of your classmates get ridiculed and abused or beaten all the time, it can have a negative effect on your own psyche and your own mental health and your own physical health, because the mental health can affect your own physical health. School climate. Now, the school climate needs to be stress-free. It needs to be calm, and if it is like that, it gives students every student the equal chance to thrive through school, and just have a good day, make good grades. But bullying, it takes that air out of that school climate. It makes it more edgy, makes kids feel more high risk. They're always on edge looking for when it's coming next. And so the grades don't tend to be as good as the kids that go through the stress-free climate. Because the harder it is on their climate state, with it makes it edgy and stuff, it makes it harder for them to concentrate. So it takes a negative effect on their academic side. Now, the kids that experience this bullying, they need to get help. Um, when something happens to them, they need to talk to somebody. So, as a parent or as a school official, that's their job. They need to just talk to them, and be compassionate and caring with them, because they've been through a lot. They just need a help. They need somebody to put their arm around them and tell them they love them. They need somebody to show them that they care. And then one thing stressed, and that's why it's in bold letters, is to be patient. They're just not going to spill their things right there. They need some time. It's hard for them. It's a traumatic event in their life, so they need help and they need to talk about it and stuff. But they need to be people need to be compassionate with them, and they just need to be patient with them. And sometimes kids can't speak, or they just won't speak about it. So there's other options to help them. Play therapy is a good one. That's when you take kids and you set them down, and you give them the toys. Like this is effective if the kid is too young to speak. You can give them the toys, and they can describe out using the toys and certain toys what's happening in their life. So you can just tell them to create their own scene, and they can do it with the toys. So that you can interpret their actions as words and figure out what the problem is. And then energy therapy is also good. It helps them to delete the effects of bullying on the mind. The bully needs help too. They don't just wake up one morning and just say, "I'm just going to be a bully." There's stuff that triggers that, so they deserve the right to be helped just as anybody else. And these are some ways you can help make them a better person, make them go back to stop the bullying, help them use their power for good. If they're good enough to bully these kids, they have an aura around them, an authority to them. So help them turn that into something good and positive. And if they start to change, tell them a good job, pat them on the back. You don't just let them go. You gotta encourage them. The more, because they always when they bully somebody, they're always getting punished, they're always getting yelled at. Something's always happening to them. So when they do something good for a change, just tell them good job, pat them on the back. And make them do things for their punishment that's not just a punishment. Don't send them to detention, make them twiddle the thumbs. You need to give them a book report on bullying, on the effects of bullying. Make them research things about the effects of bullying on students. Make them research the effects of bullying on the bully themselves. So give them constructive presentations, project stuff to help them learn about the problem. And also, why punish them? Because they need to be punished, but it needs to be in a constructive manner. Bullying prevention. Well, the best way to prevent to help kids being bullied is prevent it from ever happening. So schools need to educate their staff on the signs of bullying, the effects of bullying, to help stop this as soon as they see it. And the students themselves need to be educated about it. They need to know what the effects it is, what they're doing to other kids, and I may stop one kid from doing it because they see how bad it is. And just be honest with the kids about it. Just tell them what happens, what it is, and just be honest with them. And what have I learned this semester in my placement? Miss Orr did a great job teaching me a lot of things I'll need to know when I become a counselor. I was able to sit in the office and learn and see these kids, and this is actually where I got the idea for bullying, because I've seen it in the classroom setting, and the skills she gave me, taught me how to do certain things will help me. I feel like it gave me a leg up when I start my job as a school counselor once I graduation. I think I've already learned things that kids won't learn until higher up education or even in the job placement. So this semester was a good chance for me to learn a lot while observing a lot. Thank you.